All right, everybody. Thanks so much for stopping by another live episode of Real Estate Titans, sponsored by Lion Bowl Media. I'm your host, Greg Fowler, traveling throughout the marketplace, interviewing the top real estate professionals in our field, essentially gathering insight, inspiration, really drives and motivates these top producers above and beyond everybody else in what I'd like to consider a real estate titan. Now, our very special guest and feature titan for today, all the way from beautiful Florida, none other than Christina Walls. Christina, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show. I cannot wait to share your story and what you're all about with the audience here. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks for having me. I look forward to the talk.
Oh, this is going to be so great. And we were able to speak, I forgot, I think it was maybe a few months ago. And, when I asked you to be on the show, and it was just absolutely incredible. And I can't wait for everybody to just hear who you are and why you do what you do, and just kind of go into that very specifically into investing into land. And again, for the Titan Nation, it's always nice to have something that's new and different and exciting. So I can't wait to bring that to the table. So I guess without further ado, let's just jump into the first few questions, which is, let's just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, what got you into the business, and where you are to today.
So I'm originally from Ohio, farm country, Ohio. Went to Ohio State in my 20s, traveled around the United States, did bike tours, snowboard, wrote plays, went to college, just lived my life.
Love it.
I had really little interest in making money in my 20s. I was more just about living, having fun, having adventures, going places, traveling. And it was a great time, so then you get a little older. Yep. And you have kids and, different things occur in life and you change. So you start thinking about, oh, I guess I need to have a career.
Who needs that? Who thinks of that, right? What's going on?
And so I had a previous business. I had jobs, just regular like retail jobs. And then when my son was born, I stayed home for a while. And then I knew I wanted a business that I could be available for him no matter what. So I had a service industry business that was really just a means to an end. Did not love it, did not love it, did not love it. It was like a job. But it paid, I did pretty well and I was able to be flexible. But what I wanted to do was go into real estate. And I felt like, oh my gosh, I don't have the money. I don't have the education. I don't know how to do it. And so when my son turned old enough to drive, I said, boy, you driving. I'm not taking you to school. I'm not taking you to practice. Look, it's time for me to learn something new. Perfect. And that's exactly what I did. I just committed to learning what I wanted to do, not just what paid the bills, but what I wanted to do. And my goal was to create a business around how I wanted to live. And so I had gone to a local real estate investors association, took a couple courses, and then I sit down one day to a land flipping class, and there's a German guy in front of me named Jack Bosch giving this lecture on how to be a land investor, and it just resonated with me. And then a couple in front of me, they just closed their first deal, made $23K or something like that. And I'm like, they don't look like they're any smarter than me.
Come on.
So I bought into the program. I learned those steps, and it literally was step 1, step 2, step 3. I did my first deal in 30 days, made 80K. I was like, wow. I mean, not 80. I wish.
I was good. That's really great for the first one too, on top of it.
8,000.
8,000. Great money. It's so
sorry.
Great.
It's just that abundance flowing. What can I say,
That's
right?
It. Positive attitude, the abundance mindset. It's flowing, Christina. This is great.
It's flowing. So then I realized that I could do it. And I just fully committed. And I realized that it was just repeat. Wow. So then I got to a point where I could do the deals. The deals were no problem. I can still do deals. Deals are easy for me to do. Wow. But what I had a problem doing was scaling my business to the next level, which is a whole different situation, a whole different skill set. So I had gone back to the Land Profit Generator program, and founders and I said, I need a coach. So
Mm.
they hooked me up with this great coach who helped me learn to scale my business, whom I'm
Wow.
still in almost weekly conversations with, and we're friends at this point.
Beautiful.
And it taught me business,
Hmm.
because you can be a doctor, you can be a great doctor, but you don't know how to run your practice. You
Right.
can be a great negotiator, do deals, but not know how to grow a business.
Hmm.
And you oftentimes just need help,
Wow.
and that's
Yeah.
exactly what I needed. And land flipping in many ways was life changing for me,
Hmm.
and not just financially, but like in confidence. When you're closing deals and you're sitting in arenas and people are making, millions of dollars, and you're sitting across from them, your whole circle changes.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, what just happened to me?
Wait a minute. Is that rubbing off? What is going on here? But you bring up a super good point, Christina, is guilty by association and putting yourself in the right room with the right people and putting in the work and can really change your life as it has for you. So that you had mentioned with Land Profit Generator and, kind of you getting involved, you're also a coach as well, right? So let's talk about the progression into where you are there. Because I think that'd be really interesting for everybody to hear.
Yeah. So everybody has a little different skills. Not everybody
Mhm.
that goes into land flipping and the land profit generator is going to become a coach.
Right.
Um, there has to be, you have to be a leader. You have to be
Mhm.
somebody that that's doing it. You can't just be doing lip service.
Hmm.
You have to be the one doing it. You have to have gone through the steps, proven that you can do it, and then have a desire to want to give back.
Hmm.
And like I said, my coach definitely saw that in me. And
Hmm.
again, we even collaborate to this day. So he
Wow.
had recommended me being a coach. And so the thing that is kind of beautiful about it is you have students coming in and they're totally new. And a lot of the times the steps aren't so challenging. Step one, step two, step three,
Okay.
which would be like sending out, getting leads,
Hmm.
working those leads, turning them into deals, selling the deals.
Hmm.
Um, but oftentimes the bigger struggle is some of the little things that you have to learn, maybe some of the little technology things.
Hmm.
But one of the bigger struggles is the internal barriers that people come
Wow.
across.
Okay.
They have a history of maybe not asking for what they want. They have a
Hmm.
history of deferring. They have a history of fear. They have a history of there's so much. People
Hmm.
come into this world and we take on our families issues and we live
Hmm.
our life, and we have to overcome these things. So kind of one of the things that I specialize in is
Hmm.
helping people mentally
Wow.
succeed, because
Okay.
if you are not mentally succeeding, all the steps in the world you're going to sabotage,
Hmm.
because you just that's just how you roll.
Well said. Yeah. Yeah. It's the foundation that you're talking about, a positive or negative
Foundation.
foundation, or solid or not.
Yeah.
And you build upon whatever's there. But I think that's huge for mindset, 100%.
It not only is it, not only is it huge, it's like you said, the foundation.
Hmm.
Because if you don't believe you can do it, then you're just not going to be able to do it.
Right.
So being the coach, sometimes you see people running into blocks and you're like, oh my gosh, I've been there. I know that they really just need to have this conversation that's hard. They
Hmm.
need to like not get their emotions involved in it. They need to call up a buyer, call up a seller, call up the title company, and
Hmm.
they need to be clear about what they need and what they want. And a lot
Wow.
of times people are kind of timid about saying, this is what I want.
Yeah. Sure. And if the old adage, if you don't ask, it's very hard to receive. And
It's impossible.
it's a mental block, as you mentioned. I mean, there's some people that just can't get over that. And, we all have baggage. We all have things that we've been through, positive or negative in our lives, but it shouldn't hold us back. It shouldn't restrict or define us in a negative. And I really love that message when you're talking about it, Christina, and to the point into it, because I do want to talk a little bit deeper onto land, and I want to pick your brain a little bit, because I know you're just a wealth of knowledge with everything when it comes to investing in land. And anybody who's watching or listening, I mean, Christina is the go-to. You got any questions? We're going to have links in the comments down below for everything you need to follow and get a hold of her, because it's just incredible. But Christina, I'm not very versed in land and investments that way. So I'm going to kind of play as the audience, if anybody isn't super familiar, and there's going to be a group that is. But I mean, for my knowledge or recollection, I have a friend of a friend who invested in plot of land in Telluride, Colorado. And my buddy was saying that it's probably the size of a chicken coop as far as the land.
Telluride.
I mean, it was literally, it was tiny, but it was purchased years ago. It's worth over $1 million today for a tiny little piece of land. And to me, the thought process is, look, they're not making more of it. What's there is what's there. And so I would love any thoughts on land or investments, or anybody who's tuning in, just kind of from your world, your perspective, why are you passionate about it? And, you know, anything you'd like to share, it's open.
So land, one of the things that turned me on to land was I don't have to repair anything. I don't have to paint walls. I don't have to have crews. I don't have to have, if the toilet breaks, who cares? It's not mine.
There you go.
I don't have to go there. I can do this business remotely. I buy and sell all over the United States. I don't have to put for sale signs in the yard if I don't want to, or I can pay somebody to do it. So initially, what appealed to me about land was the flexibility that it gave me.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So then it's also not as competitive as houses. Like right now, the housing market is, you know, it's June. I had to look at the month. It's June 2021.
Time flies, right?
Like that. You know, we're coming out of COVID. The housing market is, you know, skyrocketing. Prices are continuing to go up. The cost of materials for flippers is high. Lumber is high. It's just harder to get houses like right now. And in general, there's a lot more competition. So with land, even though people talk about, oh, the competition is growing, I can tell you from experience that even today, I got a phone call from a lady, I got a contract on. She was like, I've had so many people send me contracts on my land and they never follow up. Wow. People dabble, but they don't execute. Okay. So it is interesting. So I'm like, oh, great. I'm glad you're dabbling. I can pick up your mistakes and close the deal, you know, and in the housing world, that's not so much. So land, again, you can buy and sell all over the United States. COVID has been a godsend to land investors. I have been having the hardest time keeping inventory. You know, I think in the last 10 days, we've got like 7 contracts in. We've already sold 2 in 7 days. Unreal. So the rotation of it is great. So I buy at a discount and I sell at a discount. I sell for cash, but I also offer seller financing, which creates cash flow for me. And part of the way that I run the business is I also do double closings, sometimes where it doesn't cost me any money, where they do the simultaneous closing. You get a seller under contract, you get a buyer under contract, the buyer's money pays the seller, I get the spread. Wow. All of this goes to the title company and it doesn't cost me anything. So that's one way you can get in it and it doesn't cost you a lot of money. However, you cannot start a business. Let me just repeat this. You cannot start a business and have no money. It takes, even if it's sweat equity, it takes the effort to do a business. The fantasy of get rich quick in real estate is a fantasy. Now you can come in at a minimum. You can come in at a lower price point with land than you can. I can buy land. I've got a handful of contracts. Some of them are for $5,000, some of them are for $500, some of them are for $1,000. Yeah, you know, and then I buy them and then just resell them. Sure. So it's because I sell them at a discount and I offer seller financing, they do move faster than land that just sits on the market sometimes for a year.
Wow.
It's sitting on the market for a year. Realtors, you're overpricing the property.
Okay.
Period.
Yeah.
Owners, you need to lower the price
Yeah,
or sell it to me.
Yeah, that's right. Christina's information will be listed below, just in case you're watching or listening. It'll be there. Well, but you're right. Pricing accordingly to the market, I think, is crucially important. But just your knowledge base and understanding that you can get involved as an entrepreneur into this business, but it takes the sweat equity or a little bit of that money to really push it forward. And there's all different levels in between, but surrounding yourself with great people, having coaches and mentors in a program and a system to help you do that is game changing, not trying to do it alone. And I think that's why we're so blessed to have you on the show. So anybody who's interested in really understanding land and investments and getting involved, they have a direct line to Christina. So hopefully I'm not throwing you under the bus there. Hopefully I don't fill up your DMs too much into there, but it's just really important for everybody to know that not everybody's created equal. And it's really great to just reach out to people who've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. And with that being said though, Christina, I want to kind of shift gears into the thought process of, because you've grown and done so many incredible things with your life and your world and business. If you could look back at your career thus far and give anybody who's watching or listening a piece of advice on how you really took your business and, really brought it up and took it to another level, you saw the needle move, what advice would you give? What feedback could you give to the audience that way?
Well, a few things.
Okay.
One would be that everybody has their own journey. And my journey, I'll be 50 this year. So
Gosh,
I
awesome.
wasn't into my mid 40s before I started going after what I wanted. So I had to go through my own life experiences, my ups and my downs. I had to cry, heal, laugh, all that in order to get to where I am today. However, saying that, once you determine that you have value, once you determine that you can do what you want in life, and once you decide that you want to build a business around how you want to live, doors open up.
Wow.
So I would say the biggest advice for anybody is make the decision how you want to live, and then move in that direction. And you will be absolutely shocked at what comes your way. I mean, I feel genuinely so blessed because of the network of friends that I have. And, when we get in circles and we're all investors, most of us, or entrepreneurs at this point, all of my friends are entrepreneurs and investors, all of them. All of them.
Good friends. Those are good friends to have for sure.
So our conversations, sure, we're talking about our businesses because we're just crazy like that. Yeah. That's what keeps us rolling.
Sure.
But we're also talking about what's stopping me from getting to the next level. And we become vulnerable. We become open about these things. Wow. And what starts happening is this personal growth happens. So my advice to anybody on the planet that wants to achieve anything and that has that burning desire to make something of themselves, you have to decide what that is. You have to commit to it. You have to be willing to learn what it takes to get there. And you have to keep your eye on the goal and not look at what you don't have. It's real easy to look at where you're at and say, oh my gosh, I'm only at 500K a year. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, okay. What do you want to do? You want to hit 1 million? Look at 1 million. Look at 1 million. Look at 1 million. Look at it. Look at it. That's the direction. If you want to do 100 deals a year, look at the 100 deals. Don't look at the fact that you're only doing 20. Look at the 100. So it's what you focus on and where you put your attention. That's where you're going to go. Wow. And it takes some training because, again, we have these mental paths in our mind that we tell ourselves this. You have to first recognize those paths that you are, those lies, I would say those lies.
Well said.
That you have in your head. And you have to really just kind of be like, nah, you can't talk to me no more. We broke up.
That's
we
right.
broke up.
We're done. No more lies coming from, but the mental strength and stability into that, Christina, is huge. And I know that anybody out there who really focuses on that and really understands it, it takes work, it takes effort. And just as to be positive, you can be equally as negative, but there's just so much rich content that you just gave out there. And I know that everybody's just burning up right now, getting excited really on how to change their lives. And if you want to go get it, and really having direction though. And you had mentioned training, and I want to really leave everybody with as much knowledge about you and who you are and what you do and how they can get a hold of you. If anything sticks out, if anything really touches someone's heart or their head and says, you know what, I really like what Christina's saying. How do I learn more? Where do I go? So there's a free webinar. There's something along those lines. Can you talk a little bit about that and just how everybody can get a hold of you that way?
Sure. So there is a free webinar that is through the Land Profit Generator. It's an introductory webinar, basically.
Okay.
Although we do have a live event coming up this week, and you can hit me up on Facebook, Christina Walls, and I actually have like a link that you could sign up for. It's a boot camp.
Cool.
But the free webinar, because again, this will be later down the road. It's just not this week, which is June 22nd, 2021.
Gotcha.
So there is the free link is forever, basically, and it's www.landflippingfund.com, and
Perfect.
you should have it in the description. And that's just an introductory to land investing. You can also find me on Facebook, Christina Walls. I look like me, you know.
Yes, I will vouch for that. Yes, there's no misconstruing it. What you see is what you get.
20.
No, I love this.
It's not like altered. And then on Instagram, it's Christina_13 Walls. And I do have people reach out to me about the land, and sometimes they come back around if they're not ready for it at this time. You know, I don't foresee me not doing land, you know, in the future. So also one of the things it also does is it creates income. And then if you want to buy other income producing assets, the good thing about land is that it generates cash. And you can take that cash. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I have multiple businesses. I'm obsessed with doing the things that I want to do. And I like streams of income.
Yep. There you go.
More than one.
Yes. Yes. What is, I think it's a Grant Cardone quote, but it's cash flow is king. Maybe he took that from somebody else, but yeah. I
love Greg Cardone.
Yeah, for sure. But when it comes to that, Christina, I mean, I can't thank you enough for just the wealth of knowledge that you shared. And I did have one more question for you. It just kind of came through my thought process, because the audience is heavy into the residential side, you know, realtors, that sort of thing. So you work nationally with land acquisition. How does it work with referrals? I mean, do you have people reaching out to you all the time from different states, or, you know, getting involved, or, you know, if you're able to source land for some clients of theirs, how does that work? I mean, just in general.
So in general, I go directly to the source. I buy straight from sellers. However, whenever I sell, if it's a higher price property, I definitely work with realtors. And when realtors bring me a buyer, of course, I work with them. Sometimes what happens though, occasionally some realtors are not, they don't understand how the investing world works.
Right.
So I would say have those conversations. Realtors and investors, they need to have these conversations, because realtors sometimes they're a little resistant, and investors too are a little resistant to realtors. It's on both sides, because one thinks one can't do it, one thinks the other can't do it, but it can be a great team if they work together.
Wow.
So there are a ton of house flippers that are land flippers now.
Love that. Okay.
You know, and it is simply because you can do a higher volume. Well, I don't know. I know some house flippers that just crush it in the house flipping world.
For sure.
So it's really boils down to your personality and how much you go at it.
Gosh,
but you can work with other people. But again, most land investors are getting their deals straight from the sellers. Occasionally a realtor, may be involved, but usually your best deals come straight from sellers. And we have a system where we reach out to the sellers, so there's no intermediary. It's just straight to the seller.
Love it. Right. And again, talking about the processes and systems and proven track records. And, there's so many people out there that try to reinvent the wheel, but when it's already been crafted and molded and laid out, I mean, it just makes things so much smoother and easier. It's still hard work. It's still continued effort. But as you said, if you want it, it's there. You just got to put the work in and go after it, and have the mindset that that's where you want to be. So put yourself in the room. Do the actions that it takes. But Christina, I love this. Your messaging is incredible. Your information is just through the roof. I know so many people learn so much, myself included, but I want to just leave everybody with it. Please reach out to Christina if you're interested in anything at all. We'll have links in the comments down below. This is just incredible. I know this was just the tip of the iceberg for your knowledge base, Christina. So again, there's just so much more to share. I wish we had all day long, because I know there's so many different things we could talk about. But I just want to thank you again, just for taking the time. And I really appreciate it. You are a true pro. So thank you so much, Christina. It was awesome.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate being here.
This is so great. And I have to dub this in. You're an official real estate titan. So no one can ever take that away from you. That is a badge of honor you can wear. There's no plaque, there's no trophy, but it's in your heart. So it'll be there. Officially a real estate titan.
I receive it.
Thank you, Christina. I appreciate you. And everybody, thank you as always for your love and support, your time and attention. If you like what you're doing with Real Estate Titans, don't forget to like and subscribe. You know what to do at this point. I have to give our sponsor a quick shout out, Lion Bolt Media. If you are a real estate professional, you're looking to grow and scale your business on the digital end, local exposure, lead generation, and conversion, please take a look at lionboltmedia.com. They have a free mini course listed below. We are live every Tuesday afternoon on Real Estate Titans, a different Titan, a different location. We'll catch everybody in the next live episode of Real Estate Titans. Take care. Thanks, Christina.
Thanks.
Bye.